Warning sirens echoed across Bahrain and Qatar as regional tensions escalated dramatically, raising fresh concerns that the latest incidents could signal the beginning of an even wider military confrontation in the Middle East. Reports emerging from the region suggest that an incident may have struck one of America's most strategically important military installations in the Middle East, although the exact nature of the attack remains unclear. Multiple reports claim that powerful explosions were heard near the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, prompting heightened security and growing concern over a possible attack. Iranian state-linked media outlets reported explosions near the naval base in Bahrain, describing the incident as part of the rapidly escalating confrontation between Tehran and Washington. According to Iran's Tasnim news agency, warning sirens were activated across Bahrain's capital Manama, as authorities responded to reports of possible incoming threats. Several media reports claimed that residents in affected areas were instructed to move into shelters as a precaution, amid fears of further strikes or aerial attacks. Warning sirens were also reported in Qatar, with local alerts adding to concerns that the unfolding security situation was spreading across the Gulf region. Reports also described heavy explosions in northern Kuwait, fueling speculation that multiple locations across the region may have been affected during the same period. However, the reported explosions and military claims have not been independently verified, and there is currently no conclusive evidence confirming the full extent of the incidents. As of now, U.S. officials have not issued any official confirmation regarding the reported explosions or the claims circulating across regional media outlets. Iran's Revolutionary Guards claim their latest operation destroyed a U.S. radar installation and hit an F-15 fighter aircraft inside a hardened shelter, though the claims have not been independently verified. The IRGC says waves of Iranian drones targeted 3 major U.S. military bases across the region, describing the coordinated strikes as part of a broader campaign against American forces. According to the IRGC, its so-called radar clearing operation knocked out key American surveillance assets, claiming the strikes left U.S. forces more exposed to follow-on missile and drone attacks. Iran also claims its missiles and drones struck U.S. helicopters, command centers, and military barracks, although Washington has not confirmed the reported damage. The Revolutionary Guards claim they destroyed a Patriot air defense system, an FPS-117 long-range radar and satellite communication facilities at Ahmed Al-Jaber Air Base, a claim that remains unverified. Iran says one of its missile strikes completely destroyed a U.S. defense radar installation in Jordan, but there has been no independent confirmation of the reported strike. Following the attacks, the IRGC issued a fresh warning to American troops, urging all U.S. forces to withdraw from the region or face what it called even more powerful retaliatory operations. Iranian officials say additional details, including what they describe as evidence from the latest military operation, will be released in the coming hours. Iran has claimed a series of coordinated strikes targeting multiple U.S. military facilities across Jordan and Kuwait. According to the IRGC, a missile strike on the U.S. base in Jordan's Rukban area destroyed a missile defense radar and an F-15 fighter aircraft inside its shelter. Iran also says its drones targeted 3 major U.S. bases in Kuwait during what it calls the 19th phase of Operation Thunderbolt. At Camp Arif Jan, Tehran claims administrative buildings and direction-finding antennas were hit. At Camp Ulu Dairi, Iran says helicopter parking areas used by Apache, Chinook, and Black Hawk aircraft were targeted. Meanwhile, at Ahmed Al-Jaber Air Base, Iran claims it destroyed an early warning radar, a missile defense radar, an FPS-117 long-range radar, a Patriot air defense system, a satellite communication system, and struck barracks housing U.S. troops. These claims have not been independently verified, and there has been no official U.S. confirmation of the reported losses. Nearly 100 U.S. soldiers have been injured in Iranian airstrikes on Gulf bases since early July. CBS News reported the latest casualty figures on July 20th, after Iranian barrages pummeled U.S. bases in Jordan. Several U.S. soldiers were injured when Iranian strikes hit installations in Jordan last week, CBS said. The Pentagon says almost 100 personnel were deemed to have some degree of injury since July 7, 2026. Officials add that 96% of those injured have already returned to duty after receiving medical care. 4 wounded troops were evacuated to a hospital in Jordan and have since been discharged. Other service members were treated for minor injuries and quickly sent back to their units. Notably, More than 400 US personnel have been wounded since the start of the US-Iran war. Meanwhile, Rubio says the US is striking Iran because of Tehran's behavior in the Strait of Hormuz.
I think CENTCOM has laid it out exactly what the objectives are. The only reason why the U.S. is conducting strikes is against assets of Iran that are being used to attack global commercial shipping. The Straits of Hormuz are international waterway, and they continue to launch against ships in that international waterway. Other countries should join us in this effort, but the United States is involved not just in protecting those ships, but in targeting the places that they use to launch these missiles and drones. So that's what you're seeing. That's what the objective of this mission, and that's what it continues to be. And we continue on a daily basis very successfully to degrade Iran's ability to target and ships. You hear about the ships that have been struck. You don't hear about the ones that have been defended and the ones they haven't been able to launch against. But as long as Iran insists on controlling an international waterway, we're going to have to respond to that.
What's the mistake for diplomatic off-ramp still? Do you believe that
I think we're always open to diplomacy. It has to be real. It has to be a deal that they're willing to live by. Look, Iran a week ago was supposed to put out a statement saying that the Straits of Hormuz would be open, that they would no longer attack shipping. And instead of doing that, they attacked 3 ships. I think that was last Friday or Saturday. So, I mean, their behavior has to change in order for ours to change.
Is the MOU dead?
What?
Is the MOU dead, or are we just back at full-scale war?
Well, they're not complying with it. I mean, the straits are supposed to be open, free of tolls, free of attack, free of all the things they're doing against these ships. So you can't have an MOU that's alive if they're violating the terms of it. What I will say is that the United States always remains open to a diplomatic solution. We've tried multiple times with Iran, and we'll continue to try. If that door opens, we'll be happy to see it open. But and they continue to send signals that they want to talk, that they want to negotiate. But their behavior is what we're responding to. And their behavior is they're launching missiles and drones against ships, including tonight.
What was your reaction to the president saying he wanted to charge a 20% toll on cargo in the Strait?
Yeah, but I think what the president was saying basically is that the United States, okay, every night is taking on the burden of protecting global shipping. Virtually none of those vessels are flagged U.S. Almost none of those vessels are delivering cargo or fuel to the United States. So we are basically providing the service of protecting these ships on behalf of the world, and we're the only ones doing anything about it. So what the president is basically raising the point is, at some point, the countries and the nations benefiting from the shipping through the Straits should be able to step forward and provide at least financial assistance for the cost of providing this very valuable service. That's what the president was alluding to. Now, he pointed out after the fact as well that some of the countries who are shipping product through the Straits are investing hundreds of billions of dollars in the United States, and he'll credit that towards them as far as this effort. But I do think the world is coming to a point now where it's clear that Iran, at least some people in Iran, want to control the Straits and hold that as leverage against the world. And the world has to decide whether or not it's going to allow an international waterway to be under the control of a country like this, which is completely illegal, unlawful, and unacceptable. The United States will do and continue to do what it needs to protect global shipping, but other countries need to begin to step up and provide, whether it's hardware or finances, to help carry that burden. It is not the United States' job to protect shipping for the entire planet forever.
Can you tell us about your meeting with the Lebanese president today?
Very positive this morning. You know, I think, as I said, the future of Lebanon, the best thing that could happen for Lebanon is to have a government, a legitimate government, his government, that controls the country. The biggest problem Lebanon has is that you have a political movement that also has an armed militia that is not just well-armed and trained and equipped and financed by Iran, but they use that to conduct terrorism, particularly against northern Israel. And that as long as that problem exists, Lebanon will never truly be at peace. And so how do you defeat Hezbollah? How do you replace Hezbollah? You defeat and replace them with a government that is strong enough to be the sole source of arms in the country. And so we lost people in Jordan after there was a strike. A missile got through. We shot down almost all the missiles. One leaked through, hit the wrong place, and tragically, and it's heartbreaking. And our hearts go out to these families. These are heroes that pay the ultimate price. We also lost a service member in Iraq unrelated to combat.